Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video. We're doing the extended European outlook for today's second video. So this is the 30 days slash 6 weeks look ahead for the UK and for the rest of Europe too, that we always do on a Tuesday using the ecmwf.int extended model. And I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just to say that the first video today was our 6am upload, and we're going to turn to 14 day board of rate features coming up for you later on this afternoon. So please like, share, subscribe on videos. Thank you so much everybody doing that, and thank you so much to EC for supplying the charts and data, of course. Right, so week 1 is going to be the current week, 5th to the 12th of September. We find that we've got a blocking area of high pressure from Greenland through Iceland to Scandinavia. We've got low pressure in off the Atlantic to western parts of Europe, extending into east, or central parts of Europe. In the east, we've got this ridge around the Black Sea that goes down into the far eastern part of the Mediterranean. Some low pressure through the central part of the Med, and then the Azores high is down here from like the Canary Islands up towards Spain and Portugal. 500 millibar high tsunami looks like that. So again, we see the blocking area of high pressure quite nicely around Greenland and Iceland, with the low pressure in off the Atlantic underneath it into western and also eastern parts of Europe, and then the ridge is down across the Mediterranean, across southern parts of Europe. This is how a temperature anomaly looks for the current week, being quite warm in most parts of Europe, so above average temperatures from the west over to the central areas. A little bit cooler though through Portugal and into central parts of Spain, but east of Spain looking hot. Most parts of the Med looking hot too, towards Italy as well. And then extending northwards, we find that, yes, it is warmer than average through like France, Germany, Belgium, Holland, Netherlands, and those warm conditions go up into the UK and Ireland too. Further north of that, though, it gets cooler, so you have this cooler than average area that we see here from Scandinavia, around the Baltic Sea, into those Baltic Sea states, and then off into the far eastern part of Europe and down towards the Black Sea and the eastern part of the Mediterranean. Mediterranean-wise, it is generally above average, warmer than average through most areas, but just a little bit cooler as we get in towards Greece in particular, and also Turkey. Balkans looking quite warm, especially towards the Adriatic coast, and it really is again in this far northeastern part where it is significantly cooler. Precipitation wise, looks like that. So drier than normal for much of Scandinavia and the northeast of Europe, where you have that area of high pressure. Denmark is actually quite wet, and then you have this wetter zone just here from the Atlantic through the UK, Ireland, much of northern and central France, the Low Countries, Germany into Poland, and on to Ukraine as well. Quite a wet swathe through that area. We go further south of that, though, it turns dry, and most parts of the Med look pretty dry, as does eastern parts of the, or the far southeast part of the Mediterranean too. Right, week 2 will be the 12th to the 19th of September, looking unsettled for Western Europe. Low pressure is dominating there over and to the west of Ireland, but extending in towards France and the Low Countries and Germany and southern parts of Scandinavia as well. Having a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly. Looks like that unsettled, isn't it, next week, with low pressure again in off the Atlantic into West Europe, and got low pressure into East Europe as well. The ridge across southern Europe is definitely weakening. We can say that the blocking signal is relaxing a little bit in the high latitudes, but not as much northern blocking there. Temperature anomalies are still above average, so yes, it's warmer than average week to come again through most parts of Central and Western Europe. It's cooler than average area in the far east and northeast is being pushed towards the west of Russia, actually. Into the Mediterranean, looks hotter than normal in most areas, but it's a bit cooler again around Portugal and in central parts of Spain. We also see it gets pretty warm into the eastern part of the Mediterranean too. Balkans and the southeast of Europe, Not as warm perhaps in week 2 as it is in week 1. Some of this cooler air perhaps is sinking a little bit further southwards. And for the precipitation anomaly from the 12th 19th of September, again, really quite wet in the west of Europe, so another warm and wet week to come. Most parts of northern Spain looking wetter than norm, France looking wetter than norm, many parts of Germany and the Low Countries up to Denmark, and southern parts of Northern Sweden looking wetter than norm too, and it's wetter than average to the UK and Ireland. Far north of Scandinavia is drier than normal, and again, much of the Mediterranean, particularly the central part of Med, looks drier than average. And then Eastern Europe perhaps has no signal, but I reckon it might be a little bit drier through that area. Week 3 will be the 19th to 26th of September. Still looking rather unsettled with lower pressure through many central western parts of Europe anyway. Maybe we might have some higher pressure up there, who knows, but that does look rather unsettled for the mean sea level pressure anomaly, although the 500 millibar heights is losing the below average heights, actually building up some higher pressure around Spain, Portugal. Otherwise I'll just add in a question mark. The temperature anomaly looks like that, so largely above average in most parts of Europe for week 3. Not much sign of cooler than average conditions, generally above average temperatures from Ireland and Portugal in the west, right way over towards the Black Sea in the east. And the precipitation anomaly, weakening signal, but drier than average through much of the central and western part of the Mediterranean, especially focused around Spain and Portugal. Meanwhile, wetter than normal in that area, which is kind of like Ireland and the UK towards Poland. So in that area, it looks a little bit wetter. Otherwise, as I said, it is a rather weakening signal that we have there. Week 4 will be the 26th of September to the 3rd of October. The signal is gone now. Very weak signal, so putting 2 question marks. The 500 millibar height anomaly looks like it's building up some higher pressure across the west of Europe. So it's something that the ECXM model has been doing for a while now. Might hint at something a little bit drier and warmer coming up for western parts of Europe in the last stages of the month, perhaps. The temperature anomaly for week 4 is above average in most parts of Western Europe anyway, and then no signal in these northern and northeastern and eastern parts of Europe. And the precipitation anomaly for week 4, really weak signals now, looks wetter than normal through parts of Scandinavia, perhaps, could be drier than normal around here, but again the signal has become very weak. Week 5 will be the 3rd to the 10th of October. Again, not much to work with there. Let's add in question mark. The 500 millibar height anomaly has like a trough of low into the eastern and northeast of Europe, so that could be quite cold with that trough. Might be the first sort of plunge of cold weather, into the far north and northeast of Europe with that. Maybe the first snowfalls for the Baltic states, for example. Meanwhile, high pressure through the west of Europe, probably a warm ridge bringing up the air from the south and southwest. The temperature anomaly goes colder than average in the far east and northeast of Europe through here. So definitely a bit of a plunge of temperature going on there. Meanwhile, Western Europe again looking really quite warm in week 5. And the precipitation anomaly for week 5, very, very, very weak signals now. So I think that's so weak that we can't really draw many conclusions at all. And then finally, week 6 will be the 10th, 17th of October, with a ridge here, high pressure across western, southwest parts of Europe, still with trough of low pressure in the far north and northeast of Europe. The 500 millibar height anomaly reflects that, so trough of low pressure deepening across the north and northeast of Europe, so that could be bringing cooler and more unsettled weather all the way back to Scandinavia. Meanwhile, this ridge to the southwest still tries to keep Western Europe dry and warm. The temperature anomaly looking like that. So still hints to be a bit on the warmer side for Western Europe, a little bit on the cooler side of the far north. Otherwise, not much signal precipitation-wise for week 6. looks like that. A little bit of stronger signal, actually, maybe surprisingly, wetter than normal to the northwest of the UK and Ireland, and then wetter than normal here across some northern and northeastern parts of Europe. Still a little bit drier than average down to the extreme southwest. Right then, so quite an interesting 6 weeks to come, if that's right. Definitely looks like the next couple of weeks are going to be really quite unsettled across many parts of Europe with low pressure in control. Then possibly late September sees a shift, something a little bit drier and warmer for western parts of Europe. Into October, the signals are quite weak, but looking generally, I think, quite mixed. Right, well, that's it for the EC 30-day / 42-day look ahead for the UK for rest of Europe too. This week we'll do it all over again next Tuesday. Remember, any forecast beyond 5-7 days comes with big health warnings attached. This could look completely different when we look at it again next Tuesday. We will have a look at this model on Saturday morning probably, with a focus on Ireland and the UK. And so that'll be coming up on Saturday with the same model when it updates at the end of the week. We're going to be back later on with your 10 to 14 day, but it's going to include all upgrade features, so come back for that then. But for this week's EC Extended, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.